7. GoFundMe scam. In 2017, partners in crime Caitlin McClure and Mark D'Amico were accused of spending more than $400,000 that they claimed they were raising for a homeless veteran in New Jersey on GoFundMe. The couple met Johnny Bobbitt when McClure's car broke down on the highway. Bobbitt was homeless, but he gave the pair his last $20 so they could get their car fixed. The story quickly went viral, showcasing the man's incredible generosity, and McClure and D'Amico set up a GoFundMe page in order to pay Bobbitt back. People were quick to donate to the cause. Little did they know the couple was pocketing the cash. However, their get-rich-quick scheme didn't turn out the way they hoped, and their home was raided by the police. A BMW was seen being towed away from their residence, and it was discovered that the two of them had gone on lavish vacations using the money they claimed was meant for Bobbitt. The Good Samaritan filed a lawsuit against McClure and D'Amico, claiming that they had spent over half of what was earned for him on themselves. The couple told investigators that they found out that Bobbitt had spent some of the money on drugs, so they didn't think he should have it. They even said that they still believed they did a good thing, and that if they were given the chance, they'd do it all over again. It wasn't until later that the alleged homeless man with a big heart was discovered to be in on the plot from the beginning. He only posed as a Good Samaritan in order to raise the money that they all agreed to share. In the end, Johnny Bobbitt was sentenced to 3 years of probation. The ringleader of the operation, Mark D'Amico, was given 5 years for the crime and is concurrently serving another 27 months for an unrelated federal wire fraud charge. Caitlin McClure was sentenced to 1 year and a day in prison for her role in the online scam. 6. Anything for love. A girl who killed her parents in Compton, California, with her boyfriend in 2011 showed no remorse for her actions in court. Cynthia Alvarez and Giovanni Gallardo were a young couple in love, but Cynthia's parents didn't approve of their relationship. The pair met at Dominguez High School in 2010 when they were both enrolled into the school's special education program. Cynthia was diagnosed with a learning disability, and Giovanni had an IQ of 57, according to the Los Angeles Times. When the two of them started dating, they fell hard for one another, and Cynthia claimed that Giovanni gave her all the love she never received from her parents. Cynthia said that she had been abused her whole life by her stepfather and mother. She accused them of beating her with anything they could find, and said she was expected to do the cooking, clean the house, and stay on top of the insulin treatment her mother required. However, her claims were denied by her family members. The couple's relationship started out like a fairy tale in Cynthia's eyes, but she admitted that later on, Giovanni began to show his dark side. The young man allegedly drugged Cynthia and also threatened her with guns and knives on multiple occasions, but they stayed together. They didn't like that Cynthia's parents didn't approve of them being together, and so the two of them began to plan their murder during fall of 2011. At the time of the incident, Giovanni was 16 and Cynthia was 15. On October 12th, Giovanni showed up at Cynthia's mobile home that she shared with her parents. He had a baseball bat, rubbing alcohol, and a mask. Her mother was preparing dinner when he arrived, and, quote, he waited for the perfect moment to strike, end quote. The young couple communicated back and forth using hand gestures and by writing on a spiral notebook that was later recovered at the scene of the crime. It seemed as though Cynthia was getting cold feet, and in the notebook they found that she wrote, "I'm too scared. I cannot do it." However, she was perfectly fine, allowing Giovanni to carry out the murder. She reportedly waited outside as he strangled her mother to death. The couple then bound the woman in tape and hid her body in Cynthia's bedroom. They then waited for her stepfather to come home. And when he walked through the door, Giovanni hit him in the face twice with his baseball bat. After he was on the floor, Giovanni stabbed him to death. It didn't take long for them to be arrested. They were taken into custody on October 21st. For their brutal crimes, both of the teenagers were sentenced to life behind bars. 5. Covet scam. In California in 2021, a couple was found to be responsible in a scheme involving a COVID relief fraud. When they were found out, they tried to flee their home, abandoning their 3 children, all under the age of 18. Marietta Tarabellian and her husband Richard A. Vazian were found guilty of wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit bank fraud. They used stolen or fake IDs to submit falsified applications for around 150 federal pandemic relief loans for bogus businesses. The couple also sent in fraudulent payroll records and tax forms to the Small Business Administration and to lenders, according to federal prosecutors. Marietta and Richard, along with Richard's brothers and 5 other co-conspirators, spent the money they earned to purchase mansions all over Southern California. They also bought furniture, gold coins, luxury watches, a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, and diamonds. When the scheme was discovered by police and the guilty party was convicted, they were forced to forfeit 3 of the homes and their bank accounts, along with $450,000. Richard was the mastermind behind the whole operation and was sentenced to 17 years behind bars. Marietta was given only 6 years in prison. However, the couple never planned on serving any time. Around Labor Day in 2021, they both cut their electronic tracking bracelets off their ankles and fled from police. Initially, the pair couldn't be found, and the FBI offered up a reward of $20,000 for anyone who could help them track the couple down. Richard and Marietta's life on the run was short-lived, though, and in January of 2022, they were discovered at a villa they had rented in Montenegro. Marietta was arrested at a hair salon, and Richard was apprehended at a hotel just a few miles away. The couple is currently awaiting extradition, which could happen any day now. Richard has apparently applied for political asylum, but it's unlikely he'll be given the luxury. 4. Bonnie and Clyde wannabes. Tyler Terry and Adrian Simpson have been compared to the infamous criminal couple Bonnie and Clyde for their cross-country crime spree, spanning from South Carolina to Missouri in 2020. The duo chalked up dozens of charges, including 5 murders. They also wounded 3 more men in separate shootings. During their crime spree, the pair led Max Dorsey, the Chester County Sheriff, and his deputies on a high-speed chase, driving about 100 miles per hour, or 161 kilometers per hour. According to court documents, Simpson was the driver of a 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage, and Terry fired at officers from the passenger seat, shooting 3 patrol vehicles in the process. The couple's crime wave centered around 3 dates: May 2nd, May 15th, and May 17th. Their goal was to hit unsuspecting victims as quickly as possible, and then flee the scene. They began their felonious rampage by killing each of their former lovers in their home state of South Carolina. However, any victims who got in the way were considered free game and were also targeted in their attacks. They then attempted to escape by driving across the country. No motive has been stated in connection to the couple's crimes, but it seemed like they really just wanted to hurt as many people as they could in the short amount of time they had. Simpson and Terry were arrested after the shootout with police and are currently in jail on no bond as they wait for their sentencing. 3. Attempted kidnapping. In 2020, a couple from Atlanta stole a 1-year-old boy with the intent to raise the child as their own. The infant's mother tried to put up a fight, but the criminals threatened her with a gun and stole her baby. The case was described by law enforcement as an, quote, extremely rare and random kidnapping, end quote. The woman, Leslie Barrera, was out with her son that Saturday afternoon when she was confronted by Maynard Dario Valera Zuniga and his wife, Kristen Nicole. When they tried to take her child, Leslie fought them tooth and nail. She managed to steal the man's gun and even attempted to shoot him with it. but the weapon didn't fire. Amidst all the chaos, Kristen, who was wearing a disguise to make her look like a man, grabbed the baby and the two of them jumped back into their vehicle and drove away. Barrera chased the kidnappers on foot, but wasn't able to catch up with them. Apparently, the troubled couple attempted to take another child in the area that same day, and it was reported to the police. Their descriptions were given to law enforcement by witnesses, and they were later arrested for the crime when they were pulled over by officers in Carroll County. Thankfully, Barrera's son was returned to her unharmed. Both of the suspects were charged with kidnapping, and Maynard Dario received extra charges for battery and aggravated assault. At the moment, it's unclear what their sentencing was for the crimes. 2. Robbery at gunpoint. A young couple from England were responsible for robbing a man at gunpoint in May of 2016 near Banstead Station. The responsible party, 20-year-old Benjamin Bateman and 19-year-old Alana Kuti, supposedly threatened the man with a fake firearm and demanded that he give them his wallet and phone. Using the victim's credit card, the couple withdrew cash at a nearby ATM and then ordered a taxi to take them to Mitcham. Law enforcement officials were able to track the couple's movements after discovering the phone call they had placed to the taxi company, and later identified Kuti as a suspect in the crime. The woman was arrested on May 23rd for a separate incident, which allowed officers to question her regarding the robbery using an imitation firearm. Kuti's property was then searched, and evidence revealed that Bateman had been her partner in the crime. At the time of Kuti's hearing, Bateman had no idea that the police were onto him. He attended the hearing on May 26th to support his girlfriend, but was swiftly taken into custody for his involvement. Alana Kuti and Benjamin Bateman were both charged with possession of an imitation firearm and robbery. As a consequence, both were sentenced to 7 years in prison. 1. Pacific Point murder. In May 2022, a man from Miami was looking to buy a Rolex when he was shot and killed in Lauderdale Lakes by a couple. 41-year-old Neil Rice and 21-year-old Alexis Lynn Rupert were charged for killing Emmanuel Antonio Tinoco. Tinoco was at the Pacific Point luxury apartments to purchase a Rolex watch from Rupert. The two of them had driven together to the complex, and both of them entered the building. However, when Tinoco and Rupert were about to get back into the car after their transaction, two men with guns approached the vehicle on either side. The man on the passenger side began to fire at Tinoco, successfully shooting him 5 times. However, a resident close by captured the entire murder on video, and it showed the two men and Rupert running away from the scene of the crime. It seemed as though the woman was in on the scheme, and an investigation into the matter quickly began. It was later revealed that Rupert had been illegally subletting her apartment, and Rice often stayed there. It's believed that the two of them had a romantic relationship that led them down a twisted path. During a quick scan of the suspects' Instagram accounts, investigators were able to find proof that Rice and Tinoco knew each other before the incident. They found a photo of the two men at a Miami nightclub together just 4 months before he was killed. Rupert also knew the victim, and text messages from her phone showed that she met Tinoco through her work as an escort. When police found enough evidence to suggest that Rupert and Rice had worked together in the murder, they tracked the two of them down and brought them in for questioning. When Rupert was interviewed, she refused to talk, but Rice claimed she was an escort who met her clients at the Pacific Point apartment. When police spoke with Rice, he initially denied any involvement in the murder, but DNA from the crime scene and cell phone tracking records told a different story. Apparently, messages between the victim and Rice in September of 2021 revealed that Tinoco had sold one of Rice's guns without his permission. This piece of evidence was assumed to be a possible motive for the crime by investigators. As of now, the guilty pair are waiting for their sentencing and are being held at Broward County Jail. Which one of these cases did you find the most horrifying? Let us know in the comments down below, and while you're at it, hit that subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.